I'm 78 years old, and I need to tell you something that's going to make you uncomfortable. Everything they told you about being a good person, about sacrifice and dedication, about doing the right thing, it was a lie designed to use you. And the worst part? I believed it for 56 years. My name is Dorothy. I was a nurse. Not just any nurse. I was a good nurse. The kind they put on recruiting posters. The kind patients requested. The kind who stayed late, came in early, worked double shifts, and never, ever complained. I gave my entire life to that profession. And at 78, sitting in this empty apartment with a pension that barely covers my rent, I finally understand what I really was. I was free labor wrapped in the language of nobility. But before I explain how I figured this out, you need to understand who I was. Because I wasn't stupid. I wasn't naive. I was exactly like you probably are right now, believing that if you work hard enough, sacrifice enough, care enough, the system will take care of you in return. It won't. I started nursing school in 1966. I was 20 years old. Back then they told us we were answering a calling. Not just taking a job, but answering a calling, like we were nuns or priests. They used that word deliberately, because if it's a calling, you don't ask for more money. If it's a calling, you don't complain about working conditions. If it's a calling, you sacrifice. Gladly. And I did. God help me. I did. My first job was at St. Catherine's Hospital in Brooklyn. I made $4,200 a year. That's $40,000 in today's money. For 60-hour weeks, for holding people's hands while they died, for cleaning up bodily fluids, for being screamed at by doctors who treated us like furniture, for missing Christmas, Thanksgiving, birthdays, my own life. But it was a calling. So I smiled and said, "Yes, doctor, right away, doctor." Here's what nobody tells you when you're young and idealistic. The language of nobility is always used by people who profit from your sacrifice. Always. When someone tells you you're a hero, check to see who's getting rich while you're being heroic. I worked at St. Catherine's for 8 years. 8 years of night shifts, weekend shifts, holiday shifts. I was 28 years old, and I'd already lost 3 relationships because I was never available. But that was okay, right? I was saving lives. I was making a difference. I was answering my calling. Then in 1974, the hospital administrator bought a summer house in the Hamptons. I know because he invited the doctors to a party there, not the nurses. The doctors. I heard them talking about it. Marble countertops, ocean views, tennis court. I was making $6,800 a year. I remember standing in the break room, eating a vending machine sandwich at 2 a.m. and thinking something's wrong with this picture. But I didn't have the language for it yet. I just knew I was tired. So tired. When I was 32, I met Tom. He was a teacher. Good man, kind man. He wanted to get married. He wanted kids. I wanted those things too. But I was working 50, sometimes 60 hours a week. Mandatory overtime, they called it. Not optional, mandatory. Because we were short-staffed. We were always short-staffed. You know why? Because they could run the hospital on fewer nurses if we worked ourselves to death. It was cheaper. Every nurse working 60 hours is 2 nurses they don't have to hire, 2 salaries they don't have to pay, 2 benefits packages they don't have to provide. They called us heroes. What they meant was, you're cheaper than adequate staffing. Tom gave me an ultimatum. The hospital, or him. He didn't say it mean. He said it sad. "Dottie, I love you, but you're married to that job. There's no room for me." I chose the hospital. I thought I was choosing noble sacrifice over selfishness. I thought I was choosing patients who needed me over a man who was asking too much. I thought I was being brave. I was being used. Tom married someone else. Last I heard, they had 3 kids and a bunch of grandchildren. I'm happy for him. Really. But sometimes I lie awake at night doing math. If I'd chosen differently, I'd have adult children now. Grandchildren. Sunday dinners. Someone to call who actually cares if I'm alive. Instead, I have a drawer full of Employee of the Month certificates that aren't worth the paper they're printed on. The hospital loved giving those out. Free. Costs nothing. Makes you feel special. Makes you work harder to earn the next one. Genius, really. They figured out how to motivate us with worthless tokens while paying us poverty wages. I became a charge nurse in 1982. More responsibility. Same pay, basically. Maybe $200 more a year. But it came with a title, Charge Nurse Dorothy Mitchell. I was so proud, I put it on my Christmas cards. Looking back, I want to shake that woman. They gave you a fancy title instead of money, and you thanked them. Here's something they don't tell you about nursing. About any caring profession, really. They exploit your empathy. They know you care about the patients. They know you won't walk away when someone's dying, even if your shift ended an hour ago. They know you'll cover for the coworker who called in sick, even though you're exhausted. They know you'll catch that medication error that could kill someone, even though you're running on 4 hours of sleep. They turn your compassion into unpaid labor, and they call it dedication. I worked through the AIDS crisis in the 80s. We didn't have enough protective equipment. We didn't have enough staff. We didn't have enough anything. But we were told we were heroes. They gave us pizza parties, actual pizza parties. While we were risking our lives for $24,000 a year, the hospital administrator got a bonus that year. I saw it in the annual report. $150,000 bonus for steering the hospital through difficult times. We were the ones steering. We were the ones in the rooms. We were the ones holding dying men while their families couldn't visit because of stigma and fear. He got $150,000. We got pizza. I'm not saying this to make you feel sorry for me. I'm saying this because the same thing is happening to you, right now. Whatever your job is, they're using different words, but it's the same game. We're a family here. Translation: we'll guilt you into unpaid overtime. We need team players. Translation: don't ask for what you're worth. This is your passion, right? Translation: passionate people don't need living wages. We're changing the world. Translation: change the world for free while we profit. I had a patient once, Mr. Kowalski, 93 years old, dying of cancer. He told me, "Dorothy, you're wonderful. You should be running this place." I laughed. "I'm happy where I am." He got serious, grabbed my hand. "No, you're not. I can see it. You're exhausted. When's the last time you took a vacation?" I couldn't remember. "When's the last time you went to the dentist?" I had 3 cavities I couldn't afford to fix. "When's the last time you did something just for you?" I had no answer. He looked at me with these sad, knowing eyes. "They're going to use you up, honey, and when there's nothing left, they'll replace you and forget you existed." I told him he was wrong. I told him the hospital appreciated me. I told him I was valued. He died 2 weeks later. In his will, he left me $5,000. The note said, "Get out while you still can." I didn't get out. I stayed 30 more years. Mr. Kowalski was right about everything. In 1995, the hospital restructured. That's corporate speak for, we're going to squeeze more work out of fewer people and call it innovation. They cut support staff. Nurses now did the work of nurses plus orderlies plus janitors plus secretaries. Patient ratios went from 4:1 to 8:1, sometimes 10:1. "Can you handle it?" they asked. What was I supposed to say? No, let patients suffer. They knew I couldn't say that. They weaponized my compassion. I developed high blood pressure in my 50s, took medication for it, kept working, developed arthritis in my hands and knees, took medication for that, kept working, had a herniated disc from lifting patients without enough help, physical therapy, kept working. My body was falling apart. The hospital's solution? Bring in pizza once a month and call us resilient. Do you know what resilient means when an employer uses it? It means we're going to keep breaking you, and we expect you to keep bouncing back. I had a breaking point. It came in 2015. I was 71 years old, still working, still taking extra shifts, still believing somehow that it mattered. A young nurse, Emma, 24 years old, came to me crying. She'd just found out she was pregnant. She was terrified because the hospital didn't provide paid maternity leave. She'd have to take unpaid time, and she couldn't afford it. I told her it would be okay. I told her to talk to HR. I told her they'd work something out. They didn't. She worked until she went into labor. She came back 6 weeks later because that's all the time she could afford to take. I saw her in the break room, pumping breast milk on her 15-minute break, crying from exhaustion. And I realized nothing had changed in 50 years. We were still disposable. Still being told we were heroes while being treated like machines. The hospital had just built a new executive wing, mahogany desks, marble floors, artwork in the hallways, million-dollar renovations. Emma couldn't afford 6 weeks with her newborn. That's when something cracked in me. I I started looking at the numbers. Really looking. The hospital was nonprofit, but the CEO made $2.3 million a year. The CFO made $1.8 million. The executives had reserved parking, catered lunches, bonuses, stock options. We had a break room with a broken vending machine. I started asking questions. Why were we always short-staffed when the hospital was profitable? Why hadn't our wages kept up with inflation? Why were we still buying our own pens and scissors and supplies? I was told I was being negative. I was hurting morale. I was not a team player. Translation: stop noticing we're exploiting you. I retired in 2018. I was 74. I'd worked for 56 years. You know what my retirement party was? Cake in the break room. Store-bought. They spelled my name wrong on the card. 56 years. Misspelled card. The hospital sent a generic email, "Thank you for your service." Not even personalized. Template email. Like I was one of 1,000 interchangeable parts, because that's what I was. My pension is $1,847 a month. After Medicare and supplemental insurance, I have about $900 left for rent, food, utilities, medication. I'm one unexpected expense away from financial disaster. The CEO who retired the same year, he got a $4 million golden parachute. I gave them 56 years. He gave them 8. Do the math. You know what the sickest part is? I can't even be fully angry, because they trained me so well. I still feel guilty. Guilty for retiring. Guilty for abandoning the patients. Guilty for wanting more for myself. That's how thorough the programming is. But here's what I've figured out. Sitting in this apartment thinking about my life, they didn't just use my labor. They used my identity. They convinced me that I was my work, that my value came from sacrifice, that asking for more was selfish. And I believed it. For 56 years, I believed it. I'm 78 now. I don't have 56 more years to get it right. But you do. So let me tell you what I wish someone had told me when I was 20. Your employer is not your family. They will never love you the way you love them. When you're no longer useful, they will replace you. That's not cruel. That's just business. Passion and calling are words they use to pay you less. If something is truly valuable, it should be compensated accordingly. If they can't afford to pay you properly, they can't afford to be in business. Every hour you work for free is an hour stolen from your life. Your time is the only thing you can never get back. Don't give it away. Team player means sucker. Real teams compensate fairly. Real teams don't expect sacrifice without reward. Your health matters more than any job. No employer will take care of you when you're broken. They'll just hire someone else. You don't owe them loyalty. Loyalty is mutual. If they can fire you without cause, you can leave without guilt. I wish I'd quit St. Catherine's at 30 and married Tom. I wish I'd traveled instead of working 60-hour weeks. I wish I'd spent my energy on building a life instead of building someone else's fortune. I wish I'd understood that hero is what they call you when they're underpaying you. The hospital is still there, still running, still short-staffed. They didn't need my sacrifice. They just wanted it because it was cheaper than adequate staffing. I don't know if Emma is still there. I hope not. I hope she figured it out faster than I did. Last month, I saw a news story. Nurses at St. Catherine's were striking for better pay and working conditions. The hospital released a statement. "We're disappointed that our nursing staff has chosen to abandon our patients during this difficult time." Abandoned. That word. After everything they'd taken, some of those nurses were my former students. I taught them to be dedicated, to sacrifice, to put patients first. I taught them wrong. I should have taught them to value themselves, to demand fair compensation, to walk away from exploitation, no matter how noble they dress it up. If you're young, if you're working too hard for too little, if someone is telling you you're a hero while paying you poverty wages, listen to me. Listen to a 78-year-old woman with nothing to show for 56 years of dedication. You are not a hero. You are an employee. Act like it. Negotiate. Ask for raises. Leave jobs that don't value you. Take your vacation days. All of them. Work your contracted hours, not a minute more. Save your compassion for people who deserve it, not corporations that weaponize it. Don't let them use your empathy against you. I have a friend, Margaret. She was a nurse, too. But Margaret figured it out in her 30s. She job hopped, she negotiated, she took travel nursing contracts that paid 3 times what I was making. She saved aggressively. She retired at 62. She has a house. She travels. She has hobbies. She has a life. We work the same job. She just refused to be used. I used to judge her. I thought she was selfish, mercenary, not a real nurse. I was wrong. She was smart. I was the fool. Last week, Margaret came to visit. We were having tea and she said, "Dottie, you were the best nurse I ever knew, but you let them destroy you." I started crying. Because she was right. She held my hand. It's not too late to live differently now. But it is, Margaret. I'm 78. I'm broke. I'm alone. My body is broken. I gave it all away and I can't get it back. That's why I'm making this video, because I can't get my life back, but maybe you can still save yours. If you're watching this and you're working yourself to death for an employer who calls you family while paying you poverty wages, I'm begging you, stop. If you're skipping doctor's appointments because you're too busy with work, stop. If you're missing your kids' childhoods because of mandatory overtime, stop. If you're sacrificing your health, your relationships, your life for a job that would replace you within a week if you died, stop. They will take everything you give and ask for more. That's not evil. That's just how it works. They're optimizing for profit. You're optimizing for purpose. It's not a fair fight. The only way to win is to stop playing their game. I wish I'd learned this at 30 instead of 78. I wish I had those 48 years back. I'd do everything differently. I'd marry Tom. I'd have kids. I'd work to live instead of living to work. I'd keep my empathy for people I love, not corporations that exploit it. I'd be a good nurse during my shift and a whole person the rest of the time. I'd understand that sacrifice without reciprocity is just being used. Mr. Kowalski tried to tell me, Tom tried to tell me, my body tried to tell me. I didn't listen. Please listen. I'm 78 years old. I worked my whole life, and I finally understand I was being used. Don't let them use you. You are not a calling. You are not a hero. You are not a family member. You are a human being who deserves fair compensation, reasonable hour outside of work. Demand it. And if they won't give it, find someone who will. Your time is running out. Every single day, you're getting older. The years you give away to exploitation are years you'll never get back. I can't get mine back, but you still can. Stop being noble. Start being smart. Your employer will be fine without your sacrifice. They always are. But will you be fine after giving them everything? I'm not. Don't be me. If this resonates with you, share it. Share it with every young person being told that passion should be payment. Share it with every hero being exploited in the name of a calling. Share it with anyone who's sacrificing their life for an employer who would forget them in a week. Leave a comment. Tell me I'm wrong, or tell me you're going to do something different. Because someone needs to break this cycle. I couldn't, but maybe you can. The clock is ticking. What are you going to do with your time? Don't waste it like I did. Please.